Probably one of the most demonized foods in nutrition is corn. It's right up there with dairy and meat. And there are a lot of reasons to be mad at corn, but honestly, it's not really as bad as you think. In fact, there are some reasons why some people might want to incorporate corn. However, there are also those people who really should be staying away from it. Today, I'm sharing the truth about corn, the benefits, the downsides, who should be using it, and who shouldn't. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn, and I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition human performance. And let's talk about the benefits of corn, because honestly, you probably not really heard too many benefits about it. Now, corn is technically a grain, which means that it is going to have mostly carbs and mostly starches within it. One full cup of corn kernels comes in at around 27 net grams of carbs with about 4 grams of fiber. And most of the carbs are starches, with only about 5 of those carbs being from sugar. Now, what's interesting about whole corn is that it has a glycemic load of between 8 to roughly 15, which means that it's either going to be low glycemic load or medium glycemic load. And the glycemic load measures how much of an impact it has on our blood sugar and therefore our storing hormone insulin. So although it is a bit higher in carbs, its impact on glycemic load isn't really that big. But corn is also a decent source of niacin, which is a B vitamin, as well as folate. Folate is a vitamin that's especially important when pregnant to help prevent neural tube defects. So if corn is not very high glycemic and it also has some beneficial nutrients, why is it that so many people are mad at it? There are quite a few main problems to consider. The first is that it is going to be more rich in phytic acid, which does block nutrient absorption. There are also those who might have a corn intolerance, especially if you're a celiac or gluten sensitive. A lot of people tend to also be sensitive to corn. This is because corn has certain proteins that are a little bit similar in shape to gluten. So for some people who are celiac, they might need to be avoiding corn as well, but not even necessarily everyone who's celiac. Now, some of the biggest problems with corn really isn't the corn itself, but it's the corn products like corn oil. Corn oil is often used in deep fried products, and corn oil is really high in inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids. Now, we do need to be eating omega-6 fatty acids, but the problem is that usually people are eating so much more omega-6 fats and so little of the anti-inflammatory omega-3 fats that any additional omega-6 fat can be a problem. And since so many people are eating highly processed foods that are rich in this corn oil that is also rich in omega-6 fats, then there's a huge imbalance there. Plus, most corn oil is made from GMO'd corn, which has likely been heavily sprayed with glyphosate. Corn oil is also really hard to extract from corn. Corn isn't a particularly oily food, so it has to go through multiple refining processes to get that oil out, which means that there's also a really high chance that that oil is oxidized and more likely to cause oxidative damage within the body. The other main corn product that is a huge problem is high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is a really big issue because of the fructose content. Fructose is a type of sugar that needs to be broken down by the liver, and higher intakes of fructose can lead to fatty liver disease. And fatty liver disease can increase insulin resistance, make it harder to burn fat as fuel, and just increase our risk of metabolic syndrome later in life. Another main issue with corn is that it does contain FODMAPs, which are types of carbohydrates that are fermentable. So if you have SIBO or some type of gut health related issue, then having higher amounts of corn probably won't serve your gut health goals. So with all of these negative things I just listed, who really should be or could be having corn? Well, first of all, the best types of corn products are clearly those that are actually just corn, not corn oil or not corn related sugars, but straight corn and corn on the cob. And because that type of corn is fairly lower glycemic load or medium glycemic load, a lot of people can still be incorporating it into their diet while even working toward a weight loss goal. It is a starch, so we don't want to overdo it, but if you aren't sensitive to corn, then usually about 1/4 to a 1/2 cup added in a meal shouldn't be a problem. Unless you are particularly carb sensitive where any starches are not going to work for you, then you wouldn't want to be incorporating corn. Now, if you are an athlete or you are working towards some type of fitness goal, then incorporating corn could actually provide some starches to help with muscle recovery. And when it comes to popcorn, I still stand by the fact that popcorn is a dessert. Regardless of if you're an athlete or not, it still is super easy to overconsume. So it's not something that I recommend having between meals, but having it as a dessert on the occasion should be okay, especially on movie night. You can't really have movie night without popcorn. Now, there are those who really shouldn't be having corn regardless of what their goal is, and that's possibly if you're celiac, although not every person who has celiac needs to avoid corn, kind of an individual basis. If you have SIBO or small intestine bacterial overgrowth, if you have some type of gut health concern that you haven't quite worked through yet, or if you're very, very carb sensitive. And if you are choosing to have corn, just make sure it is the whole food corn and preferably organic, because corn is so commonly GMO'd and overly sprayed. Now, if you're on a weight loss goal and you're looking for fast, easy, and really delicious options that you can have at lunch, make sure you check out this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.